Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of Sharon Let's Live with Marlene Dillon Empowerment Specialist. On yesterday's podcast, I talked about what if you don't need what you think you need. Today, I got up and I was frustrated because people in my house were making noise that was preventing me from being able to focus during my meditation time. And I'm very sound sensitive. So I typically have earplugs in or cotton balls in my ears or white noise and rainstorms or whatever playing in the background so that when I wake up, all I hear is peace. This morning when I woke up, all I heard was the person above me dragging their chair on the hardwood floor, moving constantly, a creak every 5 seconds, and I was so annoyed. So in frustration, I hop in the car and I head to my favorite spot, the lake. So as I'm on my way to the lake, I see the basketball court. And I love basketball, but I haven't watched basketball in a very long time. And I definitely haven't played in a very long time. And I was just like, I've got a basketball in the trunk. But of course, like that inner dialogue, gets started of, I haven't shot a basket in years. And when I say years, it might have been a decade. Thoughts of like, oh my God, people are going to see me. I mean, that basketball doesn't have enough air in it. Do you even have a, whatever that thing is called that you used to fill it? A pump, yes. Like, do you even have the pump for that? And I think the pump's at home. Oh boy, I guess you're not going to be able to play today. Like insecurity was trying to kick in. And I was just like, look, we got the basketball in the back. The court is never empty. I don't know those women. Let me just ignore this. Ignore all that stuff and do this cool, fun thing that my inner child would probably like be doing cartwheels with glee about. So I go ahead and I go to the trunk, find the basketball, kind of half-ass look for the pump, knowing that it's not in there. Or at least I'm pretty certain it isn't. And I just grabbed the basketball and I'm just like, you know what? Who cares? Who cares if it's fully pumped up? Who cares if these women who are clearly my age see me out here attempting to shoot these baskets? Who cares? It's just me and God. And I just decided to let my meditation time, instead of like sitting by the lake with my journal and my sketchbook and all that kind of stuff, instead of doing that, I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to talk to God while I shoot these baskets. I'm going to find meaning in what I'm doing. And that's exactly what I did. Now let me tell you what shocked the hell out of me. I hit the first 2 shots. I haven't shot a basketball in, I'm trying to think if my daughter was born yet. My teen daughter. Maybe I did it once since she's been born, but I think I missed all those. Because I think that I did attempt one day when I picked her up from her after school thing, and she was in the gym, and there were like basketballs out and the basketball hoops, and they're low because they're for the kids, and I missed all of them. So it was just like, okay, well, that's the end of my basketball career. But yeah, I got out there and blocked those women out. I just turned my back to them. Like I could have chosen the hoop that was facing where I'll be facing them, but I'm like, you know what? Let me not make it harder for myself. So I chose the one where my back was to them, so they wouldn't be a distraction to me. And I just focused on shooting these baskets, and I was really surprised. I actually hit the first 2, and then I missed one, and then I hit another, and then like before I knew it, I was like, I'm hitting like most of these shots. How is that possible? And then I had a flashback to senior year in high school. And it was a championship year for Whitney Young, but that's not surprising. And there are other and basically like it was a free throw competition for all of the seniors, like all senior classes in gym. And I was very, very shocked because I actually won the competition. And like girls from the girls basketball team were were missing free throws. Now I didn't hit a lot. I think I hit like 4. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, see, you won that competition. You could have been in the WNBA. And then actually that was like one of those things that I never let myself pursue. And I kind of had, I don't want to say regret, because I never believed I could do it. Like I thought that was too big for me, that other people got to do stuff like that. But that was one of those things, like if I allowed myself to do things like that, if I believed like that wasn't outside of the realm of possibilities for me, that would be one of my things, is that I would have wanted to do something like that, like to play basketball. But but the thing is that, like all I could do is shoot. I can't really dribble. So, which is perfect because I didn't need to dribble since the ball was, 3/4 full. So I was able to make the shots, but it actually worked out because I was thinking, also related to yesterday, of, that maybe you don't need what you think you need. Like I thought I needed the ball to be like filled with air, but I actually saved myself from like passing out on the court because, when the ball would go through the hoop or miss, it just hit the ground. Like it wasn't bouncing nowhere. So I didn't have to do like a whole lot of running around to keep up with the ball. Because when it hit the ground, like one side was flat. So that worked out for me. But so the point of my story today is not about like how amazing my basketball skills are, even though I was actually pretty amazing. I hit at least 70% of my shots. And for someone who hasn't touched a ball in probably 10 years, that's pretty awesome. Sure, that flop, we won't count that time. But the actual point is, I recognized that I was making the shots that I made versus the shots I didn't were based on what was going on in my mind. I missed, I would say, 95% of the shots that I took when people were walking by, or when I was thinking about the women behind me. Oh, they're probably thinking like, dang, she's too old to be out here. They're probably thinking, man, is she about to miss that shot? Man, that old lady about to be out, and it was so crazy because I have always been the type of person who is very much like, not in the Aaliyah way, but age ain't nothing but a number, Lord rest her soul, but not in that way of age ain't nothing but a number. But I have always had older friends who never talked about age, who never called themselves old, and they were vibrant up to the end. And I'm not talking like, that they lived till they were like in their 60s or whatever. I'm talking like people who lived past 93 and, people who lived like, well into their 80s and were doing their thing, still driving, still living on their own, still doing all, and, and still looking good, still talking and fully in their right mind and all that good stuff. And I always admired how they never called themselves old. And I've been talking to people who are in my age range, like within 8 years of me, and they keep making all these comments about being old and, this is coming, oh my God, here come menopause, all this type of stuff. And it's just like, it was starting to get in, and I was starting to like, yeah, my body is getting kind of creaky, starting to ache in the morning. And I was starting to buy into that bull. But what I realized was I ain't old. I really was hitting those shots. I was effortlessly getting up off the ground. Like these knees were bending. My arch was perfect. But like the shots were effortless. And I don't necessarily consider myself as someone who is fully in shape. I can work out, but do I? But yeah, like I was really surprised, and like I actually expected to still be winded right now. But I mean, I'm always a little winded, like got a little extra belly. But but I was really amazed at how easy I was, like getting up off the ground. I was making those shots. I wasn't in like pain and stuff. It was like I realized I'm not old. Like I really was buying into other people's bullshit. And what I recognized as I was out there is how much what we think about, how much it impacts. Because when I was thinking like, I ain't gonna make this shot, or this shot's too far, I was missing them. But what I did was, okay, so I was, for each shot, I stepped back a couple inches. And then made shots from that spot. And the second I made a shot from that spot, I backed up again. So then I looked down and I realized that I'm like right by the free throw line. I'm like, oh Lord. Of course I missed that shot. But then I like calmed myself down. I was like, come on, you can do this. But I still didn't believe it. Missed that one too. So I was like, you know what? F this. So I stepped back 3 inches from the free throw line, got focused on where I wanted the ball to go, and made that shot, and made several from back there. And then I stepped up to the free throw line, and I think I made like 8 from there. Not in a row, but close. And I was just like, I really have to watch my focus and watch what I'm telling myself, because every time I started thinking like, man, those women behind me, they're going to think da-da-da-da-da, I missed the shot. Every time I started thinking like, oh God, a car's going by, I wonder if they're watching me, missed that shot. When the younger people who work for the park district drove by in the truck, I was thinking like, man, they're going to be like, that old lady about to make that shot? Nah, she ain't going to make that shot. That's what's going on in my head. Of course I missed that shot. And when I started thinking like, about when I started having like those old kind of thoughts, pain started shooting through my knee. And it was just like, what in the actual hell? But I calmed myself down. I stretched, as needed. And before I knew it, I was like, I wasn't in any pain. Like I realized there was some type of psychosomatic nonsense going on. And I was out there doing my thing. Like I was proud of myself. Like I was waiting for like people to come up and like, congratulate me. Like, man, you just showed us it's possible. But anyway, so today's message is really about paying attention to what, like, your inner heckler, pretty much. Paying attention to that voice and like really choosing what you're going to think about when you're trying to succeed at something. What are the words flowing through your mind? What is that voice in your head telling you about your possibility? So for your opportunity today, for your growth opportunity today, let's try paying attention to the inner heckler, paying attention to that voice of, I call it the catfish, that is the voice of the catfish that's telling you that you can't do it, that you're not going to succeed at it, that you should just give up now, that it's never going to work out for you. Pay attention to that voice and choose what you really want to believe. Recognize that that's not you. Separate that voice from being your own. Don't call that your thoughts. Give that thing a name. That's the inner heckler. Recognize that you don't have to claim thoughts that work against you. So give them their own space. Like, okay, I don't believe that. I know that I can do this. Start speaking differently to yourself, because this month of July, let's try July, is all about communication. And today it's about how we're communicating with ourselves. So let's take over the conversation. Don't let that be the only voice. The voice of you can't do it, you too old, you're washed up, you're never gonna this, never gonna that, You can't succeed. Like, I'm not even asking you to argue with that voice. I'm asking you to try to speak some other words. Like my therapist, she tells me to act opposite. Like when I have a tendency to not follow through on something, that I get to choose to either follow what I usually do, which doesn't get me what I want, or I can follow what I would prefer to do, what I know will actually help the situation. And it's called acting opposite, because basically you do the opposite of what you would normally do. So I'm asking you to try thinking opposite. Where when those thoughts come up, that you decide, no, I am capable. No, I'm not old. Like, people are living to 100 nowadays, and over. People are living to over 100 years old nowadays. So if you're 40 calling yourself old, you haven't even made it to the halfway point yet. So, oh wow. Now this is crazy. So, a dude just got out of his car, pretty sure he's older than me, with his basketball, and he's about to do exactly what I just did. Now that's hot. Oh, he got handles. Okay, I see you. I should go play with him. Kidding. I can tell he's in his head though, because you can't dribble like that and not shoot. Okay, he made it. Anyway, that's so hot. Wow. Anyway, so that's your growth opportunity for the day. Try to think opposite. Try to speak words that are opposite those negative statements that are going on in your mind about what's possible for you. So today is day 4 of my Let's Try July challenge, where I am posting a podcast every day. This is Marlene Dillon Empowerment Specialist. Have an amazing whatever time of day it is for you. Blessings. To learn more about me, Marlene Dillon Empowerment Specialist, please visit mdillondesigns.com. There you can find more podcast episodes. You can read my inspirational blog. You can check out my online store of personalized gifts featuring the characters from my empowering children's book, I'm Proud to Be Natural Me. You can find parenting resources, including my online communication course, Healing Our Families, Healing the Parent-Child Relationship. Please follow and share if you found this podcast inspiring. Thank you and have an amazing day.